Hey guys, it's Veronica Bartolini with CodeBreakerRealTalk. It's a Saturday here in Tucson. How's everybody doing? I was watching the first episode of House of Dragon. It's pretty sad what they did to the queen. Spoiler alert, right? If you haven't seen it. But it's made me think a lot of stuff. You know, the king was given a choice to save the queen or the baby. And, the queen had to sit in water for many, many hours because that's how she was able to be most comfortable. And when they had her on the bed there, the baby was breached. Now the king had told the queen in one of the scenes that he had seen his son be born with a crown on his head, and that it was a boy, and that he was going to be the next heir. The queen had already lost, um, she said, 5 altogether. And so they gave the king a choice. Either it's her or the baby. And one of the doctors said, there's a method because the baby was coming in breached. And he said, there's a method that we know of where we would have to cut into the womb. And back in the day, of course, with no anesthesia, nothing for the lady, nothing for the woman. So they tied her down and she was crying. She's like, what's happening? The She bled to death and the baby was born. And it was a boy. It was a boy. And so the dream that the king had, obviously, was that how treacherous that how the baby was born because they had to cut up the mother and she bled to death. Um, I'm convinced that our bloodline, the O negative bloodline, I'm just going to talk real quick about my bloodline. On my mother and father's side, we're all O negatives, which is weird because my mom is O negative, and how could I be an O negative? I don't even know if they gave her the Rogam shot that they had to give me for my 2 kids, and their bloodline now is O positive, but they still have my bloodline. The secret of the Mary Magdalene bloodline, the O negative, is that we have both X and Y chromosomes, and we can have babies without the male sperm. That's the whole secret that they don't want you to know. The other secret in the Vatican is that Eve, or the first female goddess that they chose to have sex with the serpent or the dragon, is the royalty bloodline. So I have German bloodline on both sides, my mother and my father's side. My mother's last name on her grandfather is Fischer, Fischer. I also have the Judaic Jewish bloodline that comes from her father, which is Gomez, Gomez. I have Merovingian bloodline on both sides of my family. They're both French, my mother and my father's side. I have Persian blood that comes from my father. And I have the bloodline that comes from the Dominican Republic. So I was born with blonde hair, blue eyes. My great grandfather from Spain was blonde hair, blue eyed. Um, and then, of course, on my father's side is the redhead Nephilims, the tall Nephilims, red hair, red beard, and green eyes. So people like us are a specimen, and especially people like us that are Starseeds and have been using the Supersoldier programs are highly targeted because they don't want us to get the word out of the secrets, not only here, but in space. I have some things that I haven't really told the public, only my closest friends. Um, Back in 95, when I was 94 actually, I was in Puerto Acapulco. I was in Acapulco, and I was in Mazatlan, and that year in 94 we were in Puerto Vallarta, my cousin and my middle sister. Now, talk about being targeted, and back in the day I had no clue because I had my what they call ambush awakening, some people, in 2017. So, we're in the pool, and there's 3 doctors that jump in the pool. They said, "Yeah, we're doctors here. We're studying. We're experimenting. We're getting our degrees. We're practicing or whatever." But they were doctors, so they were getting their, like, I guess it would say, their some more practices under their belt or whatever. They were gonna go into other practices. And went out to dinner and stuff like that. There was no sex involved. Nope, it was not a CIA love bite, but it was a CIA operative something. Um, my sister and my cousin and I, we were invited to go see a live birth, and I'm like, why? Okay, because back in the day, I still wanted to be either a doctor or a police officer, and I was already at the University of Arizona. I was already, going for a teaching degree and a minor in music and linguistics. And so they took us to this hospital, which was underground. Uh, and the first woman, she had black hair. She was dark skinned. She didn't have insurance. And they laid her on a steel bed, and they had us watch a live birth, blood everywhere. They didn't give her any sedation, nothing. It was horrible. I was, I never had kids before. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Fuck. And so my middle sister ends up passing out. We go with her to the bathroom, we revive her, and then boom, the next birth is a C-section. And this triggered this memory watching the House of Dragon. So the C-section, they cut up the woman. I see through all the fat and all that, and then they take the baby out, and I'm like, damn, fuck. Why were we invited to see this? All 3 of us were targeted to see this, and I don't know. I'm just sitting here watching this episode, and I'm like, damn, my poor mother. I was breached myself. Um, I didn't want to turn. I mean, they tried through the time, and pretty much, it's a war. It's a war of the the dragon bloodlines. I know Max Spears talks about Aldebaran and the dragons fighting for years, eons. All I know is most of my SSB friends have memories of being dragons, like I do, and we fought a war, and we lost, and we decided that we were going to stay here to win this time, and that's why we're talking. So I just thought I'd come up here just to let go of all this stuff in my mind. And anyway, my new altar's come in. Her name is Katara. I was talking to Power Lady, and she sent me a picture of Katara of Mortal Kombat. I used to play that game when my kids were small. Anyway, that's it for now. It's just crazy what they do to the females, and that's why I don't want to come back here. I'm done. This is my last rodeo. And I usually, let people talk here on the show, but I've obviously I'm doing something right, because I've been getting so many trolls, so many hate from people that I thought were my friends, and I'm done. Katara's here, baby. Off with your head. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't. People who thought that I thought were my friends or not, because if some of you think that you are super soldiers, or that are star seeds are used in these programs, beware of who you talk and share your information with, because they will use you. They will make you feel like, oh my gosh, like you're in heaven, and then boom, they just use your information and take it. They don't care about you. They just want the information so that they can write their books and not pay you or whatever. They're hungry for information, because some of those people do not have the ability to have memories, because some are CIA operatives, and some do not have memories because they're being used to use people like us that are targeted. So anyway, do not give your power away. Don't give your illusion away, and just stay in peace, stay in neutrality until that day comes. You got to make a choice, people. Got to make a choice. Good night.